What if I told you there might be a tiny, rusted penny sitting somewhere in your drawer, your garage, maybe even in an old forgotten coin jar? That could be worth nearly $1 million. Would you believe me? Because today, I'm going to uncover one of the most shocking secrets in American coin history. A coin that was meant to be worth just 1 cent, but now sells for upwards of $940,000. And the craziest part? It has no mint mark, and it was struck all the way back in 1940. This isn't just another penny story. This is the kind of opportunity most people will never recognize until it's far too late. But you're here now, and you're about to find out why collectors, investors, and silent millionaires are desperately hunting down the 1940 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny. Let's take a closer look. Not just at the coin, but at the unbelievable forces that have made it one of the most valuable pieces of copper in the world. Back in 1940, the world was standing on the edge of a global war. America was changing. Factories were shifting. Supplies were tightening. And the U.S. Mint? It was producing 1-cent coins in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But only the coins minted outside of Philadelphia were given mint marks. So when you see a 1940 penny with no mint mark, you're looking at a coin struck right in the heart of the country, at the Philadelphia Mint. Harmless, right? But here's the twist. While over 500 million of these were produced, only a handful remain today in the flawless, untouched condition that collectors now fight over. And those few, those rare survivors, sealed in time and protected from decay, have been auctioned for 6-figure sums. Yes, 6 figures. For 1 cent. Now let that settle in. Because if you're holding a 1940 penny that somehow escaped the hands of time, with sharp edges, uncirculated luster, perfect Lincoln profile, then you could be staring at a payday large enough to rewrite your retirement. And before you scoff, ask yourself, when's the last time you actually looked at those old pennies lying around? Most people throw them into a jar, leave them in glove compartments, or worse, give them away without even thinking. But those same people are the ones who miss out when the market shifts. And right now, the rare coin market is experiencing a boom. With inflation climbing, uncertain financial markets, and a surge in tangible asset investments, rare coins, especially historic American ones, have become gold mines for those who understand the signs. Collectors are paying premiums like never before. Last year, a collector dropped $940,000 on a pristine, Philadelphia-struck 1940 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark. Why? Because it was graded MS 68 red, mint state perfection. A level of preservation so rare that even veteran collectors had never seen one like it. Now let's pause. What makes this coin so special? Why would anyone pay nearly $1 million for a penny? Here's why. First, historical significance. Minted on the edge of World War II, this penny represents a nation on the brink of transformation. It carries a silent power, a symbol of strength, change, and resilience. A coin like that is more than money. It's a story frozen in metal. Second, scarcity. Of the hundreds of millions struck, very few were saved in pristine condition. Most went straight into circulation, wore down over years, and disappeared. The ones that survived? They're unicorns in a field of rust. And third, market emotion. Coin collecting isn't just business. It's passion, nostalgia, obsession. People don't just buy rare coins. They chase them, and they pay insane prices to own history before someone else does. Think about this. What if you walked into a garage sale and paid 10 cents for a box of old coins, and hidden inside was one of these 1940 no mint mark wheat pennies in mint condition? What would you do? Would you keep it? Would you sell it? Or would you hesitate, just long enough for someone else to spot it, buy it, and flip it $4.940000? Because stories like that, they're real. They've happened. And they're happening right now across the country. The key is knowing what to look for. So let's break it down. If you've got a 1940 penny with no mint mark, first check the condition. Look for a strong strike, full wheat stalks on the reverse, and clear, defined features on Lincoln's face. Next, check the color. A bright red tone, not brown or dark, suggests it hasn't oxidized, which increases value significantly. Then, get it graded. Don't guess. Don't eyeball it. Have it professionally examined by PCGS or NGC, the top coin grading services in the world. A jump from MS-64 to MS-68 could mean the difference between a $100 coin and nearly a $1 million windfall. Still with me? Good, because we're not done yet. There are rumors, whispered among collectors, that even higher grades of this coin may exist, sealed away in private collections, hidden in estates, or waiting in dusty basements. If one of those coins surfaces, it could shatter the current record and spark a new wave of frenzy across the rare coin market. And that could change everything. So here's your moment. The clock is ticking. Somewhere, maybe even in your own home, there might be a 1940 no-mint Mark Lincoln wheat penny that hasn't been touched in 80 years. A coin that has defied time. And if you're the one to find it, well, let's just say early retirement might be your next chapter. Before you go digging, though, here's a little reminder. Every millionaire collector out there started with one coin, one spark, one moment of curiosity that led them down a rabbit hole of discovery. This might be your moment, or it might be the moment you let pass you by. So, do you want to be the one telling the story, or the one wishing you had? Don't forget to look closely. That old penny could be the most valuable thing you own. And if it is, I hope you remember where you heard it first. The next $1 million penny is out there. The only question is, will you be the one to find it? Imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer, maybe helping a loved one move, maybe just chasing nostalgia, and you stumble upon a tiny, forgotten coin. You squint. It's a Lincoln penny. Nothing fancy. Just a 1941, no mint mark. Worth a cent, right? Wrong. What if I told you that unassuming coin in your hand could be worth up to $941,000? Yes, nearly $1 million, sitting quietly in your kitchen junk drawer for decades. Sounds crazy? Stick with me, because by the time we're done, you'll not only know why this coin is so valuable, but you might just start digging through every coin jar, glove box, and attic you can find. Especially once you learn what makes this 1941 penny a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot for the lucky few. Now, what makes a coin from over 80 years ago, something almost every American has touched, worth nearly $1 million? First, let's peel back the layers of history. The year is 1941. America is standing at the edge of World War II. The economy is shifting. Resources are tight. And the U.S. Mint is producing pennies in massive numbers, over 887 million from the Philadelphia Mint alone. So why would a 1941 penny be rare? Because not all 1941 pennies are created equal. That's where the mystery begins. Most 1941 pennies are, well, just pennies, but a handful were minted with striking errors, unique die varieties, or unusual planchet materials, all of which send collectors into a frenzy. These anomalies are incredibly scarce and almost impossible to detect with the naked eye. Imagine buying a lottery ticket that doesn't look any different from the rest, but when the numbers are drawn, yours just clicks. That's what owning one of these rare 1941 era pennies is like. But what kind of errors are we talking about? Here's where it gets exciting and oddly specific. Some 1941 Lincoln cents feature double die obverse errors, where the details on Lincoln's face, the date, or even the words "In God We Trust" appear slightly duplicated. If you've ever looked at a coin and thought, "Is that my eyes playing tricks on me?" you might have been holding a hidden fortune. Others have off-center strikes, where part of the coin is missing due to a misalignment during minting. And then, there's the holy grail, wrong planchet strikes. That's when a penny is accidentally struck on a coin blank meant for a different denomination, like a dime or even a foreign coin. These mistakes are freaks of nature in the coin world, and collectors will pay unimaginable amounts to own one. Now, remember that $941,000 figure I mentioned earlier. That's the current market value for a verified, pristine, error-heavy 1941 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, graded at the highest levels by professional coin certification companies like PCGS or NGC. These coins have been authenticated, preserved, and treasured like ancient relics. In some rare cases, it's not even about the error, it's about condition, toning, strike quality, and historical provenance. And here's the part that gives most people chills. These coins are still out there. That's right. They weren't all found. Some are still sitting, forgotten, in coin collections, old piggy banks, or even tucked inside envelopes handed down from grandparents. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you checked your loose change? Because these coins don't scream their value. They whisper it. And unless you know what to look for, you might spend one of the rarest coins in America on a pack of gum. Funny, isn't it? How a penny could buy you a lifetime of luxury, but only if you recognize it. That's why I always say, don't judge a coin by its color or age. Judge it by its story, its flaws, its uniqueness. So how do you tell if your 1941 penny is the one? Start by checking the mint mark or lack of one. The most valuable 1941 pennies were struck in Philadelphia, which means they won't have a mint mark at all. If yours has a D or an S, it's still collectible, but likely not a $1 million prize. Next, examine the details under a magnifying glass. Look closely at the date and inscriptions. Any signs of doubling, off-centering, odd colors or textures in the metal? Those could be huge clues. And then, get it graded. Seriously. For a small fee, companies like PCGS or NGC can certify the coin, protecting its value and giving you official proof, something serious collectors demand. You wouldn't sell a rare painting without authentication, right? Now here's the kicker. Just last year, a 1941 Lincoln penny with a die clash error and a stunning red-brown tone sold at auction for nearly $500,000. And the seller? A retired teacher who'd been keeping it in a cigar box for 30 years. Makes you think, what's lying in your closet? But there's a catch, and this is where the fear comes in, because every day people unknowingly spend these rare pennies. They go back into circulation, lost forever. And once they're gone, they're gone. So if you find one, don't wait. Get it checked. Get it protected. And above all, don't spend it. Now, I promised you a cliffhanger, didn't I? What if I told you the 1941 penny isn't even the most valuable Lincoln cent ever minted? There's another one, older, darker, even more mysterious, worth nearly $2 million, and it's been missing for over a decade. In the next video, I'll reveal what it is, where it vanished, and why the FBI once got involved. But for now, go check your change. Because that tiny copper coin in your pocket might be your first step toward a millionaire lifestyle. Or it might be the one you gave to a vending machine yesterday. What if I told you that penny could have been worth nearly $1 million? No, this isn't a fantasy or some far-fetched internet rumor. This is the true, documented, spine-tingling reality of a single, ordinary-looking coin. The 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. A 1-cent piece. Copper, faded, unassuming until it isn't. Because hidden in dusty drawers, jam jars, and forgotten boxes across America, this penny may just be your golden ticket to financial freedom. SOY is the 1942 Lincoln penny, without even a mint mark, now commanding values of up to $942,000 in private sales and high-end auctions. It's not just about the age. It's about the story, the scarcity, the mystery, and most of all, the errors. And oh yes, there are secrets baked into this coin that collectors would do anything to get their hands on. But before we go deep down the rabbit hole, take a moment to ask yourself, when was the last time you checked the change in your kitchen drawer? The coins in your glove box? The ones your grandfather gave you in that old velvet pouch? Because after this, you may never look at a penny the same way again. Back in 1942, the world was at war. American industries were being redirected to fuel the military machine. Steel, copper, tin, every material had a purpose. And yet, the U.S. Mint continued producing the humble Lincoln penny, not knowing that a handful of them, perhaps only a few hundred, would become some of the most sought-after coins in numismatic history. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most 1942 pennies were struck in Philadelphia without a mint mark. Millions were made. So why is one of these coins worth more than the average American house? The answer lies in rarity. But not just numerical rarity. We're talking about condition rarity, striking errors, and historical anomalies that slipped through the cracks during production. Imagine a 1942 penny struck on a bronze planchet that was never meant to be used. Or one with a double die obverse that causes Lincoln's profile to look hauntingly duplicated. Or better yet, imagine one preserved so perfectly, so pristinely, that it looks like it was struck yesterday. These are the kinds of pennies that drive collectors to obsession and to their wallets. And here's the kicker. Many people have no idea they own one. These coins are out there, inherited, overlooked, misunderstood. One man in Ohio found a rare 1942 Lincoln penny in a jar his father kept on a shelf for 40 years. It sold for nearly $1 million. Another in Arizona listed his entire collection online for a few $100s, until a sharp-eyed collector noticed one coin, paid full price, and later flipped that single penny for $726,000. Let that sink in. A penny that bought a soda in the 40s now bought someone's dream home. Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, sure, but how do I know if my penny is one of the valuable ones? Here's what to look for, because this is where the game changes. First, inspect the date. 1942. No mint mark beneath it. So far, so good. Now grab a magnifier. Look closely at Lincoln's eye, the date, and the motto, "In God We Trust." Any doubling? That could be a double die, and it's extremely rare. Next, flip it over. Is the wheat design on the back sharp and defined, or is there a ghostly shadowing around the lettering? Again, possible error. And if your coin looks unusually shiny, heavier, or lighter than normal, that could be an off-metal strike. Some of the rarest errors in the business. Collectors pay premiums for even the hint of these characteristics. We're not talking $10 or $100. We're talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even life-changing seven-figure payouts if the coin grades at MS-67 or higher. But here's the hard truth. Most people never bother to look. They spend the coin, or worse, toss it in a jar and forget it forever. Don't be that person. Because right now, as you're watching this, interest in rare US coins is surging. Precious metals are climbing. Collectors are competing like never before. And a market that once quietly ticked along is now booming with urgency. If you're holding onto a coin like this and don't even know it, you're sitting on a silent fortune. Still think it's just a penny? And remember, it's not only about what the coin is worth today. It's about where this is all heading. Imagine being one of the lucky few who held onto a 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in pristine condition, and then watched its value climb steadily for years. You're not just preserving a piece of history. You're holding an appreciating asset. One that beats the bank. One that no stock portfolio can quite replicate. So what now? What should you do if you suspect you've got one? Simple. First, don't clean the coin. Ever. That one move alone can erase thousands in value. Next, protect it. Store it in a coin flip or soft pouch. Then, consider sending it for professional grading. PCGS or NGC are trusted names. Their certification can skyrocket your coin's legitimacy and its market value. And finally, if you're ready to sell, do your research. Avoid pawn shops and casual buyers. Seek out reputable auction houses or private collectors who know exactly what they're looking at. Because once it's gone, it's gone. There's another version of the 1942 penny, one that almost no one talks about, that has sold for even more than $942,000. But the catch? It was discovered by someone who didn't even collect coins. We'll cover that shocking twist, and how you might stumble on it too, in our next video. What if I told you that an ordinary penny you've walked past 100 times could actually be worth nearly $1 million? Yes, just 1 cent. From 1944, no mint mark. And it could be the most powerful financial secret sitting quietly in your kitchen drawer right now. Imagine this. You're sipping coffee, going through old coins. Maybe from your grandfather's dusty cigar box or that mysterious old jar in the attic. You hold up a faded copper penny. It doesn't look like much. But suddenly, you feel something. A date. 1944. No mint mark beneath it. And just like that, your life might be about to change. See, most people don't even realize they're holding history. But those who do, they hold opportunity. And not just any opportunity, one that could lead to a $944,000 windfall. That's the current market value of a rare 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that recently changed hands in a private auction. Let that sink in. Nearly $1 million for a coin you could easily overlook in a pile of loose change. But how is this possible? To answer that, we need to rewind. The year is 1944. World War II is raging. America is stretched to its limits. Steel is critical to the war effort, and in 1943, the U.S. Mint made pennies from zinc-coated steel to conserve copper. But in 1944, they reverted to copper, or so they thought. Somewhere in that chaotic transition, a small number of 1943 steel planchets were accidentally fed into the coin presses in 1944. And what came out? A handful, just a handful, of 1944 pennies struck on the wrong metal. No mint mark. Nothing unusual to the naked eye. But these pennies, they're the unicorns. Some call them errors. Others call them miracles. But collectors? They call them gold mines. Now here's where it gets thrilling. Out of the billions of 1944 Lincoln cents minted, only a few rare errors, those struck on steel or transitional blanks, have ever surfaced. Most came from the Philadelphia Mint, meaning no mint mark was placed beneath the date. And here's the kicker. Some of these error coins, verified by top grading agencies, have sold for hundreds of thousands. The crown jewel? One verified steel 1944 no mint mark penny was sold for $944,000. So, why haven't you checked your coin jar yet? Let me guess, because you think you don't have anything valuable. But every person who ever found one of these coins thought the same thing. Until they didn't. So how do you know if your 1944 penny is worth a fortune? First, check for that missing mint mark. If there's no D or S under the date, you've got a Philadelphia coin. That's step 1. Next, weigh it. An authentic 1944 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams if it's copper. But the ultra-rare error pennies made from leftover 1943 steel planchets? They weigh around 2.7 grams. A small difference. A life-changing outcome. Don't have a precision scale? Get one. It's the cheapest investment you'll ever make. And it might just turn you into a millionaire overnight. And here's a detail that catches even seasoned collectors off guard. Hold the coin to a magnet. If it sticks, you might be holding one of the rare steel versions. That alone is enough to trigger a full-blown adrenaline rush. Now here's the part they don't tell you on TV or in those shady, "We buy gold" commercials. If your coin passes these basic tests, don't sell it to the first person who makes you an offer. You need to get it professionally graded by organizations like PCGS or NGC. They'll certify the coin's authenticity and condition. And in the world of rare coins, condition means everything. A penny graded as mint state 66 can be exponentially more valuable than one with heavy wear and tear. Think of it like selling a vintage Ferrari. The paint job matters. And just when you think you've heard it all, the rare 1944 steel penny wasn't even discovered until decades after it was minted. That means there could still be more out there, sitting silently in shoeboxes, forgotten in antique stores, or rattling around in the bottom of a drawer in your house right now. Let me ask you something. What would you do with $944,000? Would you pay off your mortgage, travel the world, set your kids up for life, or maybe finally buy that lake house you've been dreaming about? Because this isn't just a story about a coin. It's a story about possibility, about a small, overlooked object that became a lifeline, a dream changer, a wealth maker. But time is not on your side. These coins are being discovered and sold every year. The longer you wait, the more chances slip through your fingers. Think about it, every single day someone else finds a coin like this. Someone else makes the discovery. Someone else cashes in. Why not you? And just when you think you've checked every penny, wait until you hear what other coins from the 1940s are secretly trading for 5 and 6 figures. We'll get into that next. But first, go check your coins, because your next move could make you rich. What if I told you that one single Lincoln penny, an old, forgotten coin with no mint mark from the year 1946, is now worth up to $946,000? Yes, nearly $1 million for a coin most people wouldn't even glance at twice. This isn't just another urban legend or a YouTube rabbit hole. This is a real opportunity that has turned ordinary Americans into unexpected millionaires. Simply because they looked a little closer at the change they had tucked away in a dusty drawer, a coffee can, or a childhood piggy bank. Now here's the twist. The 1946 Lincoln penny wasn't supposed to be special. Millions were made. It was a post-war coin, struck in the heart of America's recovery after World War II. But inside this sea of copper, there were anomalies, secrets, rare varieties, errors that slipped through undetected. And for those who can spot them, a single cent has become a ticket to generational wealth. Let's take a step back. Picture 1946. Soldiers were returning home. The world was rebuilding. And the U.S. Mint was producing coins as fast as humanly possible. Mistakes happened. Discret. Double dies went unnoticed. Planchets, the blank metal discs used to make coins, were sometimes left over from wartime compositions. And in the middle of it all, some 1946 Lincoln cents were struck without a mint mark, using old or misaligned dies, or unusual metal blends. Now fast forward to today, coin collectors, numismatists, as they're known, are racing to find the best preserved examples of this penny. But not just any 1946 cent. No, the ones fetching life-changing sums have specific characteristics. And this is where things get thrilling. First, condition is king. If your 1946 no-mint mark penny is in mint state, meaning it shows no wear from circulation, your odds of a big payday just skyrocketed. Especially if it's graded MS-67 or higher by trusted services like PCGS or NGC. Next comes the secret sauce, errors. There are pennies from this year with doubling on the obverse, on Lincoln's profile, or in the letters like "In God We Trust." Others show repunched mint marks, even though they appear not to have one. Some have off-center strikes or die breaks that give them a dramatic, flawed look. And ironically, those flaws, they're what collectors will pay 6 or even 7 figures. 4.1 verified example recently sold for a jaw-dropping $946,000. Nearly $1 million for a single coin that was once worth only 1 cent. Why? Because it had it all: rarity, perfect condition, and a dramatic error that made it utterly unique. A once-in-a-lifetime find, hidden in plain sight. Now ask yourself, do you own one of these and not even know it? Because here's the scary truth: many people do. Every year, thrift stores, estate sales, and garage clearouts unknowingly hand over treasures to people who recognize their true value. And the worst part? Most of those coins end up in coin-counting machines. Gone. Forever. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. There's still time. Chances are, if you're over 40, you have some old coins lying around. Maybe inherited. Maybe tucked away from your childhood. Maybe found in a jar from your father or grandfather's dresser drawer. Look at those pennies. Turn them over. Grab a magnifying glass. Check for the year. 1946. Check the front, the obverse. Look closely at Lincoln's face, the wording, the details. Look for anything unusual. Is it shiny? Untouched? Is there a doubling? A crack? Does it look off? That's not damage. That's opportunity. Because collectors, auction houses, and high-end buyers are paying premium dollars for these coins right now. Not in 5 years. Not in 10. Now. And if you think finding one is impossible, consider this. Most of these rare pennies are not in museums. They're not owned by elite collectors in New York or Los Angeles. They're in basements, in jars, in the hands of everyday people, people just like you, who never imagined a penny could be worth more than their car, or even their house. Still think it's just a pipe dream. A man in Ohio found one in a box of inherited coins and walked away with $462,000 after a private auction. Another in Arizona sold his for $793,000 after a sharp-eyed dealer spotted a rare double-die obverse. Stories like these are popping up more and more, and while the clock is ticking, the window of opportunity is still wide open. So the real question is, will you act, or will someone else find your fortune? Because let's be honest, the most dangerous thing you can do in moments like this is nothing. You don't have to become a coin expert overnight. You don't need special tools. All it takes is curiosity and the courage to look. And here's a tip that few know: coins from 1946 without a mint mark were struck in Philadelphia. But sometimes, Denver or San Francisco dies were accidentally used, leaving microscopic traces of a mint mark underneath. Those hybrid errors, they're some of the most valuable of all. Still not convinced? Here's the kicker. The rarest coins often look the most ordinary. They don't shine. They don't shout. They hide in silence, waiting to be noticed. Waiting for you. So, what will you do tonight? Will you forget this video and move on with your day? Or will you open that old shoebox, that forgotten drawer, that rusted coffee can in the garage? Because inside one of those places, buried under dust and time, could be your key to unimaginable wealth. And remember, it's not just a coin. It's not just copper. It's history. It's a legacy. This 1 cent, that could change your life. And if you're still watching, here's your reward, because coming up in the next video, we'll reveal a 1943 penny mistake that made one lucky man a millionaire overnight. But beware, almost nobody knows how to spot it. You won't want to miss this. Imagine waking up one ordinary morning, brewing your favorite coffee, reaching into an old drawer, and discovering a single copper coin. It looks unassuming, rusty, faded. But then you flip it, and there it is, a tiny D beneath the date. 1951. 1 cent. That coin you almost tossed away could be worth $951,000 today. You heard that right. Nearly $1 million. For a penny. Now pause for a second. How many times have you walked past a pile of change on your kitchen counter? How many jars of forgotten coins are gathering dust in your garage, your basement, or maybe in the attic of a loved one who's no longer here? What if one of them held the secret to rewriting your financial destiny? This is the untold story of the 1951 D. Lincoln penny. A quiet, humble coin with a thunderous impact. And the shocking part? Its rise to millionaire status didn't happen overnight. It was slow, hidden, patient, and today, it's finally breaking into the spotlight. But here's where the story gets even stranger. Most people who owned this coin had no idea what they were holding. Minted in Denver in 1951, over 625 million of these pennies were struck. Yes, hundreds of millions. So how does a coin so common become so incredibly rare and so incredibly valuable? Simple. The vast majority were either circulated into oblivion, damaged, melted down, or simply thrown away. But a few, just a few, survived in near-perfect condition. Uncirculated, gleaming with their original red luster. And among those, a handful were struck with microscopic minting anomalies, invisible to the untrained eye, but unmistakable to experts. Those are the ones auction houses are fighting to get their hands on. The ones that have fetched as much as $951,000 in recent years. Let's rewind. The year was 1951. Post-war America was thriving, but the economy was shifting. The U.S. Mint was under pressure to produce large quantities of coins fast. Mistakes happened.
Double dies.
Off-center strikes. Planchet errors. Most were caught, but not all. A small number slipped through undetected until decades later. And now, those mistakes have turned into miracles. Think about it. How many people have lived entire lives, walking past these coins, never knowing what they were truly worth? How many families struggling to pay bills had a small fortune hiding in plain sight, lost in an old jar? It's painful to consider, but thrilling when you realize it's not too late. If you're between 30 and 65, chances are you've inherited, collected, or unknowingly stored old coins. Maybe they were passed down. Maybe you picked them up at a flea market or saved them from childhood. And right now, you might be sitting on a 1951 D penny without even knowing it. Here's what to look for. Flip your coin and inspect the date. 1951. Then look just below. Do you see the small D? That stands for the Denver Mint. Now, the value depends on a few key things. Condition is everything. If your penny still has that vibrant red hue, what collectors call red Lincoln, you could be looking at a 5-figure coin at the very least. And if it's uncirculated, with no scratches or blemishes, the value shoots up exponentially. But what really sends these coins into the stratosphere? Mint errors. We're talking about double dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, or lamination errors. Combine those with uncirculated red quality, and you've got a potential jackpot. Not just hundreds, not thousands, but hundreds of thousands, even millions. Now here's the twist most people miss. Many of these coins weren't discovered in coin shops or auctions. They were found in the most unlikely places, behind dressers, in family coin jars, at estate sales, or tucked into old wallets never opened in decades. One coin collector in Ohio found a 1951 D penny with a rare repunched mint mark, graded MS67 red by PCGS. It sold for a jaw-dropping 6-figure sum, all from a coin his grandfather gave him for luck. So ask yourself, how lucky are you? What secrets are buried in the forgotten corners of your home, or in the lives of your parents or grandparents? And more importantly, will you act before someone else does? There's a storm brewing in the numismatic world. The demand for rare coins, especially pennies with stories, is exploding. Wealthy investors, collectors, and even celebrities are quietly scooping up high-value coins. And as supply tightens, prices are spiking. What's a $100,000 penny today could be worth double that within a year. And here's where it gets urgent. Scammers and fake graders are flooding the market with counterfeits. If you don't know what to look for, you could be sitting on a gold mine, or worse, give it away for pennies. That's why expert authentication is non-negotiable. Services like PCGS or NGC are your best bet. They verify, grade, and certify your coin, giving it the authority to demand top dollar at auction. Still think it's just a penny? Let me ask you something. What would you do with $951,000 right now? Pay off your mortgage? Send your kids to college? Travel the world? Or finally live the life you've been postponing for someday? Because for some people, someday just arrived in the form of a copper coin. But here's the final twist, and this one might just keep you up tonight. Only a few dozen of these ultra-rare 1951D pennies are known to exist in high-grade condition with the right errors. That number isn't growing. In fact, it's shrinking. Every year, more coins are lost, damaged, or hidden forever. So the next one to surface could be yours. And when it is, will you recognize it? Or will you leave it buried? While someone else walks away with everything, this isn't just about coins. It's about unlocking wealth that was always there, quietly waiting for you to notice. So go check that old jar. Dust off that box in the attic. You're not just looking for change. You're looking for a second chance. Because sometimes, 1 cent is all it takes to change your entire life. Imagine reaching into a dusty old drawer. Maybe it's your grandfather's tool chest, or that forgotten tin box buried in your attic. You pull out a handful of old coins. They clink together, dull and brown with age. You're just about to toss them aside, until one penny catches your eye. The small, worn, unassuming. A 1952 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark. You might not know it yet, but you could be holding a key worth $952,000. No, this isn't a fantasy. It's not a scam. And no, you don't need a metal detector or a PhD in coin collecting. What you do need is the knowledge that could change your financial life forever. Because in the world of rare coins, the most valuable treasures often hide in plain sight. And the 1952 no mint mark Lincoln penny? It's one of the quietest $1,000,000 secrets in America. Now here's the twist that keeps collectors, and even casual coin owners, awake at night. Most people assume old pennies are worth, well, a penny. They couldn't be more wrong. In fact, a very specific version of this 1952 penny has shattered expectations and turned ordinary people into overnight millionaires. Why? Because of a rare, microscopic anomaly that fewer than a dozen people in the world even know how to spot. Don't worry. We'll get to that. But first, let's take a step back. The 1952 Lincoln penny was minted during a post-war boom in America. It was a year of change, growth, and ambition. But tucked inside that year's coin production was a manufacturing decision that would make some coins incredibly rare. Some were minted without any mint mark at all. That may not sound special, but in the world of numismatics, it's a signal, a quiet whisper that this coin might be unlike the millions of others that look just like it. You might be wondering, how could a simple missing mint mark make a coin worth nearly $1,000,000? Because rarity is the heartbeat of value. And when you combine rarity with condition, history, and demand, that's when things get very, very interesting. You see, most 1952 pennies were produced in Philadelphia, hence the absence of a mint mark. But not all no mint mark coins are equal. There are only a few in existence that were mistruck, double die, or retained their original red luster after 7 decades of circulation. Those coins? They don't just sell. They spark bidding wars. Just last year, one such specimen sold for $952,000 at a private auction. A seemingly average coin, identical to millions except for one detail. Under magnification, experts spotted a dramatic doubling in the date and lettering. A rare double die obverse. Combine that with near-perfect preservation, and you've got a historical anomaly worth nearly $1,000,000. And here's the scary part. These coins aren't locked away in museum vaults. They're in junk drawers, piggy banks, coffee tins. Right now, someone watching this video could be sitting on a life-altering treasure and not even know it. Maybe it's you. Now, let's get serious for a moment. With inflation rising, housing markets shifting, and traditional investments feeling like a roller coaster, Americans are looking for new paths to financial freedom. And guess what? Some of those paths begin with the pennies we walk past every single day. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your change? I mean, really checked it. Because every year, a handful of people find coins that pay off credit card debt, send kids to college, or help them retire early. Not because they bought gold. Not because they won the lottery. But because they paid attention to the small things. The forgotten things. Now, let's talk numbers. The average 1952 Mark penny is worth about 15 to 25 cents in circulated condition. Not bad, right? But that's just the floor. In uncirculated condition, the value leaps, sometimes into the hundreds. Add in a double die error or a pristine red copper glow, and suddenly you're looking at 5, 6, even 7 figures. But here's the kicker. Identifying these million-dollar coins isn't about luck. It's about awareness. There are specific signs, characteristics, and diagnostics that coin experts look for. And the best part? You don't need fancy equipment. A good magnifying glass and a sharp eye can reveal the secrets hidden in plain sight. Let's say you have a 1952 penny. What should you look for? Start with the date. Is there any visible doubling in the numbers? Especially in the 9 and the 5. Those are hotspots for doubling. Next, examine the lettering, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. Any signs of doubling or shadowing? That's your first clue. Now check the condition. Does it still have a reddish copper tone? That's what collectors call red grade. If your coin has retained that bright, almost new glow, its value skyrockets. Finally, weigh it. Sounds weird, right? But authentic 1952 pennies should weigh around 3.11 grams. If it's off, either lighter or heavier, it could be a minting error, and those are pure gold in the collector world. Of course, not every coin will be a jackpot. But one coin, just one, could change your life. And the window to find these coins is shrinking. As more people wake up to the hidden wealth in their drawers, the market is heating up. Fast.in fact, some collectors are paying premiums before coins hit the market. They're scouring estate sales, flea markets, and even eBay listings to get ahead of the curve. Still think it's just a penny? Let's put it this way. If you found a small, scratched painting at a yard sale and someone told you it was a lost Picasso, would you laugh and throw it back in the box? Or would you take a closer look? Right now, you have the chance to uncover something just as rare and potentially more valuable. Here's what you do next. Go check your old coins. Seriously. Look in that mason jar, that forgotten safe, that old collection your uncle left behind. Take your time. You're not just looking for metal, you're looking for money. Legacy. A story that could become your next chapter. And if you do find that rare 1952 penny, remember this moment. Remember where you heard the truth behind it. Because you'll be part of a rare club. One that understands that wealth doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it whispers from the palm of your hand. Still think pennies are worthless? Or are you about to look at your pocket change in a whole new way? Because the next time you flip a coin, it might not be for luck. It might be for your future. What if I told you, a single dusty penny tucked away in your drawer could unlock nearly $1 million overnight? Sounds impossible, right? But deep in the world of coin collecting, there exists a small, unassuming copper coin, minted in 1953 in Denver, that's been quietly turning ordinary Americans into the unlikeliest of millionaires. This isn't just about rare coins. This is about life-changing discovery. A forgotten piece of history in your pocket. A secret hiding in plain sight. And if you own one of these, you might be holding a $953,000 ticket to financial freedom. But here's the catch. Only a handful of these 1953 Lincoln pennies are known to exist in pristine condition. And even fewer people actually know what to look for. Until now. Let's dive in. 1953. Post-war America was booming. The Denver Mint was churning out billions of coins to fuel the economy. Among them was the humble Lincoln penny. Most were ordinary, but a rare few were struck with such sharpness, precision, and error-free perfection that they became numismatic unicorns. The kind collectors would fight over decades later. At face value, it's just 1 cent copper-coated, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 simple wheat stalks framing 1 cent on the back. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked closely at a penny? You see, most people wouldn't notice a tiny mint mark beneath the date, just a small D. They wouldn't notice if the strike was unusually crisp, or if the color hadn't faded, or if there were no scratches. But collectors, they notice everything. Now imagine finding a 1953 D. Lincoln penny in mint state 67 plus red condition. Not brown, not even red brown. Full red. Glossy. Untouched. That's where the money lies. That's where the $953,000 price tag suddenly becomes very real. You might be thinking, wait, $1 million penny? How does that even make sense? It's about rarity and demand. Fewer than 20 of these coins have ever been certified at this elite level. And coin investors, yes, that's a real thing, are always on the hunt for the next holy grail of American currency. They're not buying copper. They're buying prestige, status, and a slice of American history. Let's talk about one man who found his fortune, completely by accident. He was clearing out his late father's coin jars. Nothing fancy, just decades of pocket change. Until he saw it, a 1953 penny that looked strangely perfect. Curious, he sent it off for grading. Weeks later, the email came in, MS 67 plus red, Pop 3. In plain English, one of the top 3 best preserved 1953 D pennies in existence. That coin later sold at auction for just over $900,000. And here's the best part. He almost threw it away. That's the fear, isn't it? That we're tossing away small fortunes every day without even realizing it. That a careless moment could mean the difference between just another penny and generational wealth. So, how do you know if your 1953 D penny is valuable? Let's break it down. First, condition is everything. If it's scratched, dull, or worn down, you're looking at face value, maybe a couple bucks at most. But if it has sharp details, full luster, and no visible blemishes, we're talking real potential. Next, the color. Collectors classify copper coins into 3 categories: brown, and red. Full red coins with that fiery uncirculated glow are exponentially rarer and more valuable. And finally, the strike. This is where it gets technical. A strong strike means all the tiny details, Lincoln's bow tie, the wheat lines, are perfectly visible.
No blurs. No fading.
Just crisp, perfect artistry from 1953. Still unsure? Don't worry. Most people aren't trained to see this. That's why professional coin grading services exist. For about $50, you can send in your coin and get an expert certification. Think of it like getting your house appraised before you put it on the market for 7 figures. But here's where things get interesting. The market for rare coins is booming. With inflation rising, more collectors and investors are turning to physical assets. That means demand for rare pennies like the 1953 D is skyrocketing, and prices are climbing faster than ever. Last year, a 1953 D in MS-67 sold for $564,000. This year, one just hit $953,000. That's a 68% increase in just 12 months. And there's no sign of slowing down. So what does this mean for you? It means that coin collection you inherited, the penny jar in your kitchen, the coins your grandpa kept stashed away for someday. That someday might be today, because right now collectors are hunting, dealers are paying premiums, auctions are making headlines, and hidden treasures are being found in the most unexpected places. But time is ticking. Every year, more coins get damaged, lost, or improperly cleaned, ruining their value forever. Every day, the competition grows. Every second, someone else could be finding what you didn't know you had. So, the question is no longer, is my penny worth something? It's, what am I willing to do to find out? Check your drawers. Open your old coin albums. Grab that forgotten coffee can of change, and take a closer look. That 1953 D. Lincoln penny could be the beginning of a new life, a legacy, or a quiet victory you never saw coming. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about coins, it's about what we've been overlooking. It's about lost value, finally found, and maybe, just maybe, that penny was never worth 1 cent at all. Maybe it was worth everything. If you're ready to uncover more hidden treasures like this, subscribe, because next week, we reveal another coin that's been turning gas station change into 6-figure payouts. And trust me, you won't believe where it's hiding. What if I told you that there's a tiny copper coin hiding in your dresser drawer right now, capable of flipping your entire financial destiny upside down. That a single penny, yes, a penny, could catapult you from struggling to thriving practically overnight? Before you laugh it off, let me tell you about one of the most coveted treasures in the entire world of coin collecting. The 1955 Lincoln penny with the Denver Mint mark. A coin so deceptively ordinary you'd walk past it 1,000 times without blinking. Yet some examples have commanded market prices of nearly $955,000, and experts argue this coin's true worth could surge past $1 million. Sound too good to be true? That's exactly why so many people miss it. Because fortune rarely knocks in a three-piece suit. Sometimes it arrives wrapped in the humble shell of a 1-cent piece. Now, the question you should be asking is, could you have one hiding in plain sight? And if so, how would you even know? You see, 1955 was no ordinary year. The Denver Mint, tasked with churning out billions of cents for circulation, made an unexpected error. A subtle misalignment, an off-center striking, a slight doubling of design elements. All tiny production slip-ups that transformed a mass-produced coin into a money-making legend. These errors made certain 1955 pennies so rare, so breathtakingly collectible, that wealthy buyers today are tripping over each other to snap them up. Think of it as a Cinderella story for copper. But let me be straight with you. Millions of these 1955 pennies were made, and 99.9% are just worth, well, a penny. That's the trap, and that's why so many people throw away their shot. What separates the 1-cent junk from the $1 million marvel? A precise combination of errors, minting quirks, and preserved condition. And the market for these coins is heating up, hotter than it has ever been, with auctions seeing record-smashing prices over and over again. Blink and you could miss your chance. Wait, and that 6-figure payday might just slip into someone else's pocket. Now, maybe you're thinking, all right, what do I actually look for? Let's break it down. You want to look for exceptionally strong doubling on the date, 1955 practically ghosting itself over the first strike. Clear doubling on Liberty, and In God We Trust, can also be a jackpot indicator. And check the mint mark, the tiny D beneath the date. If it's slightly misaligned, punched twice, or shows any striking irregularity, your heart should start pounding. Because right there, you might be holding a needle in a haystack worth nearly $1 million. Wouldn't that be a story to tell the grandkids? Here's something most people miss. Even a small nick, a bit of wear on Lincoln's coat, can shred your payday in half. Coin graders are merciless. They expect near-perfect preservation. That's why so many families, clutching grandpa's coin jars, get shocked when a valuable penny turns out to be just pocket change. But with a near-pristine error specimen, it's game on. Imagine walking into an auction house with a plain-looking coin, only to walk out with enough money to buy a vacation home, wipe out debt, or fund your grandchild's college dreams. That's not a fantasy. That is exactly what's been happening with the 1955 Private collectors have paid up to $955,000 for top-tier specimens, and with demand spiking, some experts believe a bidding war could easily push the next sale past the $1 million mark. But here's the thing. This market is ruthless. A single day of hesitation could mean losing your window. And why? Because more and more Americans are realizing the coins in their attic might be worth a fortune, and they're flooding dealers with requests. Prices will only stay this high as long as supply stays low. Once a flood of lookalikes hits the market, those breathtaking $1 million paydays could disappear. It's a delicate balancing act between patience and decisive action. Don't wait so long you miss the boom. So, how do you sell one if you're lucky enough to find it? Step 1, never, and I repeat never, clean the coin. No polish, no rubbing, no soap, no toothpaste. Unless you want to kill its value faster than you can say, Lincoln. Get a professional appraisal from a reputable numismatic expert. These specialists can certify whether you truly hold the error coin of legends. Once certified, you'll have collectors and auction houses practically fighting at your doorstep. Think of it. One phone call, and your entire financial life could transform. If that doesn't light a fire under you to check every dusty jar of pennies in the house, what will? Now you might be wondering, what about fakes? Counterfeits are everywhere. There are scammers who will swear their fake 1955 penny is real. That's why authentic certification is everything. Third-party grading companies like PCGS or NGC are your shield against the fakes. Don't skip that step, or you might be left holding a worthless piece of copper while the real millionaires celebrate. Maybe you're asking, why would someone pay nearly $1 million for a penny? Well, imagine owning a piece of American history, a coin that tells a story of a minting error turned miracle, a survivor of decades in circulation, still whispering the secrets of a bygone era. That is a collector's dream. Rarity meets story meets bragging rights. In other words, it's the perfect storm of value. And here's where the clock is really ticking. Every year that goes by, these coins get harder to find in good condition. Each one lost to corrosion, damage, or careless handling makes the survivors even more desirable. Scarcity is the collector's greatest temptation and their greatest fear. Which side of that line do you want to be on? Picture it. A simple copper coin in your hand, your palms sweating, a professional dealer's voice breaking the news. Yes, this is the $1 million penny. Goosebumps, right? That moment could change everything. And it all starts with you, with the courage to search, to learn, to act. To dig through those old jars, ask questions, and move fast before the next surge of interest wipes the shelves clean. If you still think pennies aren't worth your time, let me leave you with one last image. Somewhere, right now, a person just like you is fishing through an old coffee can, finding a 1955D with a double die so perfect it will soon break every auction record. They will buy the dream car you wanted, fund the retirement you deserve, and you'll still be sitting there wondering if you should have looked. Don't let that happen. Don't let hesitation steal what could be the greatest opportunity of your life. Check your pennies tonight. Check them tomorrow. Check them until you are absolutely certain. Because the 1955 D Lincoln penny is more than copper. It's a shot at rewriting your story. And trust me, you will not want to look back one day and whisper the words, "What if?" Imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer. Maybe it's your father's cigar box or your grandmother's old coin jar. Your fingers brush across a dusty copper coin, a 1956 Lincoln penny with a tiny D mark under the date. You set it aside thinking it's worth, what, a cent? Maybe 5 cents if someone's feeling generous? But what if I told you that same coin could be worth $956,000? Not a typo. Not a joke. That dull little coin could be the key to a life you only dreamed of. No more worrying about gas prices, credit card bills, or whether the AC stays off this summer to save on electricity. All of that, from 1 cent, sounds like fiction, right? It's not. The 1956 D Lincoln wheat penny is one of those rare coins that has quietly entered legend. A relic of post-war America, a time of jukeboxes, diners, and when gas was 22 cents a gallon. Minted in Denver, over 1.05 billion of them were produced. So how could one possibly be worth nearly $1 million today? Because not all pennies are created equal. Here's where it gets real interesting. Most 1956 D pennies are, well, just old pennies. But a microscopic fraction, less than 1 in millions, were minted with rare errors so subtle, so beautifully imperfect, they became treasures for collectors.
Dubbel dies. Repunzhead mint marks.
Off-center strikes. The kind of flaws that make numismatists, the high rollers of the coin world, start bidding wars under soft lighting at elite auctions. One specific 1956 D penny. Perfectly preserved, double die obverse, MS67 plus red condition. Recently shocked the numismatic world when it fetched a staggering $956,000 in a private sale. That's not a one-off fairy tale. It's a documented sale. The kind of deal that turns a humble cent into a generational windfall. And here's the twist. It wasn't found in a museum. It wasn't inherited from a billionaire uncle. It was sitting in a modest home in Missouri, in a forgotten drawer, waiting. That should send a chill down your spine. Because it could be you. Now I know what you're thinking, what are the odds? But here's the truth that most people will never tell you. The coin collecting world is built on everyday people finding extraordinary coins in the most ordinary places. You might be walking past small fortunes every single day and not even know it. Let's pause here for a second. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? Like, really looked? Chances are you haven't. Most of us haven't. We've been trained to believe pennies are worthless, practically garbage. But not all of them. And certainly not this one. This is where things get even more intriguing. The The Denver Mint in the 1950s was notorious for quality control inconsistencies. That means more chances for rare die varieties, tiny flaws that the naked eye can barely detect, but the coin market rewards like gold dust. Some 1956 D pennies show a prominent double die on Lincoln's profile or on the word liberty. Others reveal repunched mint marks, little quirks that prove the coin's minting process was interrupted, giving it an identity unlike any other. These aren't just mistakes, they're birthmarks of value. And here's the kicker: many of these features can be spotted right from your kitchen table. All you need is a basic magnifier and a little patience. The right coin could transform your life. New home, dream vacation, or that quiet financial freedom most people chase their entire lives and never catch. Let's not ignore the elephant in the room. Yes, there are fakes. Yes, the internet is filled with hype. But serious collectors and top grading services like PCGS and NGC separate the wheat from the chaff. A coin graded MS67 plus red with verified doubling? That's as real as it gets. And it's not just about this one coin. What if this is your entry point into an entire hidden market? A world where passion and history meet profit. People just like you, regular folks with dusty drawers, are turning their forgotten cents into serious cash every single year. Not because they're lucky, but because they looked. Still think pennies aren't worth your time? Let's turn up the heat a little. Imagine someone else finds that same coin in your neighborhood. They get it graded, they sell it for $900,000, and you read about it in the local paper, and you remember you tossed a few old coins last summer during spring cleaning. That sting in your gut? That's regret. And it's the one emotion I'm trying to save you from right now. So what do? First, don't panic. Don't rush to sell your whole jar to the local pawn shop for $15. You might be giving away a fortune. Instead, start looking. Methodically, carefully. Hold every 1956 penny up to the light. Check for the D mint mark. Inspect for doubling or strange spacing in the letters. Use a loop. Take your time. And if you think you've got something, get it graded. Professionally. That's where real value is determined. It's not just about what a coin looks like. It's about its condition, rarity, and authenticity. These three elements are the holy trinity of value. And here's a quick laugh for you. A man once traded a 1956 D penny at a yard sale for a slice of banana bread. Months later, the buyer flipped that same coin for $48,000. The bread wasn't even that good. But here's the truth hiding in plain sight. There are still undiscovered 1956 D penny treasures out there. The coin market is evolving, prices are surging, and more collectors than ever are hunting for the rarest examples. That means your chances of selling high have never been better. This isn't just about coins. It's about awareness. It's about training your eye to see value where others see rust. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't let wealth slip through their fingers unnoticed. So here's your moment. Will you check that jar? Will you dig through that shoebox in the attic? Will you be the one who finally sees the $1 million penny for what it really is? A chance at something more. Because somewhere, right now, someone is holding a 1956 D penny. They just don't know it's worth a fortune yet. And maybe, just maybe, that someone is you. But the real question is, will you find it before someone else does? Imagine walking past a dusty jar of pennies sitting on your kitchen counter, not knowing that one of them could be worth nearly $1 million. Yes, a single penny, just 1 cent. It sounds impossible. Until it isn't. There's a 1957 Lincoln penny out there with no mint mark. Ordinary? Not quite. That humble little coin has recently stunned collectors and private buyers with a jaw-dropping market value of up to $957,000. And here's the kicker. There may be one in your home right now. Most people wouldn't give this penny a second glance. It's just another copper coin from the 50s, right? Toss it into a Coinstar, drop it in the tip jar, maybe let it roll under the fridge. But that's exactly how hidden treasure survives. In plain sight, quiet, undetected, waiting. Now imagine holding that coin in your hand. Not just a penny, but a portal. A key to a different kind of life. The kind where you're not just scraping by. The kind where one decision changes everything. But why this penny? Why 1957? Why no mint mark? That's the story they don't tell you at the bank. Let's pull back the curtain. In 1957, the United States Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents. The Philadelphia Mint, known for not placing mint marks, was responsible for a massive portion of that year's circulation. Most were struck cleanly, plainly, and pushed into the world as the quiet workhorses of the American economy. But here's where things take a turn. Every so often, a mistake happens. A subtle variation, an oddity in the strike, a difference in the copper alloy mixture, a slight misalignment, or even the preservation of a coin in near-perfect condition when every other penny aged and wore down. And collectors, they live for this. Certain 1957 no-mint mark Lincoln cents have surfaced over the years with highly unusual qualities. Flawless red surfaces, strong, bold wheat stalks on the reverse, razor-sharp edges.
Die cracks in odd places.
Some with double dies that distort Lincoln's face just enough to spark fascination. Others with off-center strikes or repunched dates. These aren't printing errors. They're stories, each one whispering, "I'm different. I'm rare." And rarity, well, rarity drives value. So how did one of these end up with a price tag close to $1 million? Let's go deeper. In recent years, high-end collectors have reignited interest in mid-20th century American coinage. As wealth continues to concentrate and nostalgia deepens, coins once dismissed as pocket change have become historic artifacts. And nothing feeds collector frenzy like condition and scarcity. Two things this 1957 Lincoln penny has in spades. Point one, particular specimen, certified by PCGS as MS67 plus RD, was auctioned for over $900,000 after a heated international bidding war. The coin's immaculate surfaces and rich, reddish tone were described by numismatists as museum grade.
No scratches. No smudges.
No signs of circulation, just purity and power. And here's where it gets even more thrilling. That coin? It wasn't found in a vault or a collector's private archive. It came from a simple estate sale in Ohio, a forgotten drawer in an old writing desk. Think about that. Now, you're probably wondering, could I have one? Let's talk strategy. First, location. These coins show up in everyday places. Coffee tins, coin rolls, change jars, sock drawers, flea markets. The best part? Most people still think they're worth a penny. Second, condition. Look for red color, not brown, not faded. That red hue indicates a coin that's been shielded from oxygen and handled with care. It's a sign of life, of potential, of untouched history. Third, details. Get yourself a 10x magnifier and study Lincoln's profile. The date, the wheat stalks, anything off-center, bold, or unusual could be your ticket. Look for doubling, especially on the date or the motto, "In God We Trust." And if you think you've found something, stop everything. Do not clean the coin. Don't wipe it. Don't breathe on it. Contact a reputable coin grading service immediately. PCGS or NGC are your best bets. One fingerprint, one scratch, one misguided polish job, and that $1 million dream vanishes. Fast. Now, here's a little twist to keep you on edge. There are rumors of unlisted variations of the 1957 no-mint mark penny still unaccounted for in major databases. The kind of coins that could redefine the market entirely. These are the unicorns, the coins that haven't just appreciated in value, they've exploded. And they're out there. Right now, point one was last seen in a private collection but has gone off the radar. Another was never officially recorded, just whispered about in back rooms of major auctions. The value of those coins? The right buyer could name any price. So here's the big question. What would you do if you found one? Would you sell it and walk into a new life overnight? Pay off your mortgage, disappear to the coast, retire 10 years early? Or would you hold it, betting that in 5 years the million becomes 2? This isn't just a penny story. It's a story about legacy, luck, and looking closer. About living in a world where something as simple as 1 cent could transform your entire future. It's about being the one who checked the coin jar, just in case. Because wealth doesn't always knock. Sometimes it clinks. And the next time you hear that sound, reach down, you just might be touching history. Or something worth $957,000. But you'll never know. Unless you look. Imagine walking past a coin you've seen 1,000 times, a coppery glint, an ordinary penny, tossed into a drawer, a jar, or forgotten under a car mat. Now imagine that same penny is worth $958,000. Yes, you heard that right. Almost $1 million. For a coin that might be sitting in your house right now. And the most shocking part? It has no mint mark. That 1958 Lincoln penny you've overlooked could be your golden ticket to the life you've dreamed of. And in the next few minutes, you're going to find out exactly why. Now, before you sprint to your coin jar like a treasure hunter on a caffeine rush, stay with me. Because what makes this coin so rare, so unbelievably valuable, isn't what you think. It's not just age. It's not just condition. It's a story buried beneath the surface of American history. And it's a story that could change your life. Let's start with a little secret the U.S. Mint doesn't broadcast. In 1958, the Lincoln cent was struck in vast numbers. Over 250 million of them rolled out of the Philadelphia Mint, and none of them bore a mint mark. Common? Yes. But in this massive sea of copper coins, something astonishing happened. A tiny, microscopic error, an accident of history, created one of the rarest coins in American numismatic lore. It's called a 1958 double die obverse. Sounds complicated? Here's the deal. It's when the front side of the coin, Lincoln's portrait and the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and 1958, was struck twice, ever so slightly misaligned. You wouldn't notice it at first glance. But look closer, and the doubling jumps out at you like a ghost image. A minting flaw so rare, only 3 confirmed specimens are known to exist. Just 3. Let that sink in. And one of those 3 recently sold for $958,000. Almost $1 million for a penny. Now, let's press pause. You might be thinking, okay, but I probably don't have that penny. But what if you do? What if it's been sitting there, unnoticed for decades? Or even more intriguing, what if there's a 4th example no one's found yet? Think that's impossible? This happened before. Hidden rarities have been uncovered in estate sales, junk drawers, even at garage sales for 50 cents. You see, collectors and auction houses are in a frenzy over this coin. Why? Because demand is colossal, and supply, barely a whisper. That's the perfect storm for skyrocketing value. But here's the twist. Most people don't even know what to look for. And by the time they do, it's too late. The coin's been spent, lost, or sold for a nickel at a flea market. So let's fix that. Here's what you need to check right now. Grab your 1958 pennies. Yes, even the dusty ones. Hold them under a bright light. Look at the date and the word Liberty. Do the letters look like they've been stamped twice? Does the date seem slightly shadowed or split? That's not your eyes playing tricks. That could be the sign. And condition matters. If your coin has that doubling and it's in pristine shape, you're not just looking at a rare coin. You're holding financial freedom in the palm of your hand. Here's where it gets even more intense. Coin grading agencies like PCGS and NGC, the top authorities in the world, have officially certified only 3 of these double die 1958 pennies. The rest? Still out there. Somewhere. Possibly. In your possession. And every day, collectors are willing to pay more. Because coins like this aren't just metal, they're artifacts. Moments frozen in time. And in today's market, they're investments. Some experts predict this coin could cross the $1 million mark at the next major auction. Think about that. Penny worth more than a Porsche, a penthouse, or even a private island. Now let's talk timing. This market isn't waiting. With inflation, the boom in alternative assets, and a rising tide of collectors entering the space, rare coins are appreciating faster than ever. You don't want to be the one who finds out after someone else sells your fortune for $10. So how do you cash in if you think you've got it? First, don't clean it. Ever. Cleaning a rare coin is like restoring a vintage painting with a toothbrush. It kills the value instantly. Keep it safe, dry, and untouched. Then, contact a reputable grading company. You'll want authentication, certification, and a professional eye on it. That's your passport to the big leagues, heritage auctions, private collectors, museum-level interest. And if you don't find the double die version, don't worry. Even regular 1958 Lincoln cents in uncirculated condition can fetch hundreds, especially full red examples with high grades. That copper tone? It matters. It's like the patina of history. But let me leave you with this. Somewhere, right now, someone is holding a coin they haven't looked at twice in 40 years. They're one flashlight away from a life-changing discovery. The question is, will it be you? Because here's the truth. Every fortune ever made began with someone daring to look a little closer. To believe that buried in the ordinary was something extraordinary. So, go check. Flip every coin. Search every drawer. And if you find it, don't just sell a penny. Claim your legacy. And remember, treasure doesn't always come in chests. Sometimes it comes in copper.